to do another reminder post-it note because this one's starting to curl a little bit and I have to get a different color because, you know, that's just fun. That's what I do. All right, so let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Brenda Meller. My company's Meller Marketing, and I help people unlock the power of LinkedIn. I'm so delighted that you're joining today. We're here for a great action-packed 30-minute webinar. We're going to be talking about LinkedIn 101 for beginners or for non-LinkedIn users. Maybe you're not on the platform yet, you want to know what this fuss is all about, and you just need a bit of nudging along the way. So it's a 30-minute webinar today. I do talk pretty quick, but I'm going to try to pull that pacing down just a bit. And I would ask if you have any questions that you use chat to communicate with me, okay? So if you can hear me, see me, just send me a quick message right now and say, good morning, hello, yes, I can hear you, something, just so I know that you guys are able to communicate with me. I'd like to do that before we get started because of the fact, like I used to, you know, love presenting in person, and you get the feedback from the audience when you're presenting in person, people nodding their heads, and if there's microphone feedback or squeal, you can see the audience reaction. When you're in a webinar, it's really hard because if you aren't paying close attention to chat, and like me, I actually have my video viewer in the side panel, but I collapse it down so I can just see myself in the session. So I'm not seeing your feedback unless I kind of open that back up again. So that's why it's really important to use chat. And that way you can communicate with your presenters, and that's the way we kind of do this workaround in this day and age that we're in right now. So let's get started. We're in here for LinkedIn 101 for beginners. And usually what I like to tell people is when you come into any webinar, it is an opportunity for networking. Most of the time, the meeting host will allow you to use chat to communicate with everyone, whether it's the other attendees or the panelists or the hosts. Sometimes they limit it, only host, and sometimes they shut it off entirely. I was on a school board meeting last night and we couldn't chat with anyone, right? Because there was a lot of controversial issues about back to school and whatnot, and I don't think they wanted to have that chat going, right? So they wouldn't let us do that last night, but that wasn't a networking meeting. This is a networking meeting. You're gonna be learning from others, learning from myself. So here's what I'd like you guys to do. If you could, please go into chat right now and just share, why are you needing to use LinkedIn? Whether you're on the platform yet or not on the platform yet, why are you thinking about using it? Is it for job search? Is it for business development, general networking, maybe just personal use? You want to keep track of and keep in contact with people in your professional network, maybe for some other reason. There's something else in there I haven't mentioned, you can clarify that. And then if you are on LinkedIn, what I would recommend is that you drop your LinkedIn URL into chat. And I'm going to show you guys how to do this. While I'm doing this, I'm going to remind you, if you are just joining, I am recording the session. Yes, you will be given a link to the playback, and yes, I will make a copy of my slides available to you, okay? So feel free to take down notes, but don't panic if I'm going quick because you can always watch the replay, okay? So what I'm doing right now is I went to my LinkedIn, and when I click on the in symbol or the home symbol, that takes me back to the home page state, okay? And in the left panel, I'm gonna see my photo, my name. When I click on any of those items, it's gonna take me to my profile, okay? So if I wanted to share my LinkedIn URL, that web address at the top that's associated with my personal page, I would click on it. And what I wanna show you is if you just grab the www start of it without the HTTPS, and then you put that into chat, you're gonna notice in chat, it is not clickable, okay? However, if I grab that entire address bar, including the HTTPS : / and I drop that into chat, it is now clickable, okay? It's blue, it's hyperlinked, and I really like this because of the fact that if you are a little bit more advanced in terms of LinkedIn, if you're a heavy networker, this is an opportunity for you to grow your network. So every time the presenter says, introduce yourself in chat, you know, think about including that LinkedIn URL in there, even if they didn't ask for it. You know, sometimes they say put your email or something, and I always put my LinkedIn URL in there instead. Okay, and related to that, I would encourage you to visit and invite others to connect if you are active on LinkedIn. And when you visit my profile, you're going to see the default button says follow. If you want to connect with me, you'll have to click on the more button. And then you'll see an option to personalize invite, and just mention that you were in today's webinar. I'd be happy to connect with you. Okay, so that's a little bit of introductions for those of you in chat. My name is Brenda Meller. My company's Meller Marketing. I've been an independent marketing consultant for about 3 years now. Prior to that, I worked in a variety of marketing positions throughout my career. And I just developed a knack for social media and specifically LinkedIn. I had a management decision that kind of nudged me forward into the universe. And while I was looking for what was going to be next for me in terms of a full-time job, I started having people approach me on the side and asking me for project work. And then I started to think, well, gosh, if I do enough of this project work, I probably don't need to go back to full-time, right? And that's what I've been doing for 3 years. Living the dream, if you will. Absolutely love it. Successful beyond my wildest dreams. So loving this and loving all the experience that led me to today. So that's a little bit about me. And let's see you guys. Let's see who has introduced themselves in chat and how you are using LinkedIn. So let's see. Olivia is using this for job search and networking. Kristen just started in pharmacy school and wants to work on professional development. Raymond says professional networking. Let's see who else. Stassi, trying to make connections, job search. Very good to see you again, Stassi. Jay Sagini, I can't see their first name. Job searching, new grad. And Jay Sagini, just so you know, in your Zoom, there is a way that you can change your name. I'm going to ask somebody else is on the session if you could provide that instructions. It might be helpful for you for future sessions. All right, great. And then we've got Ann using this for job search. So great to see all of you here. I've got a variety of different reasons for using LinkedIn, and I'm delighted that you're joining. So this is LinkedIn 101, guys. I'm not going to go too deep into anything because really what the focus is today are 3 topics. I'm going to explain what is LinkedIn. I'm going to talk about why do you need a LinkedIn profile, and then I'll talk about how do you get started. I'm going to give you a couple of quick hit tips in each of these areas as we go along. And my goal is to move you from being that anonymous person on LinkedIn, right? If you're not on there already, if you're not active, I want to move you from being behind the scenes to being a very active participant on the network. Or maybe you're not even at the party yet. You're not even on LinkedIn. You're kind of watching from outside the window, right? I want to bring you into the network. By the end of the session, I want to convince you that you should be using LinkedIn. All right. And what is LinkedIn? Well, you know, LinkedIn is a professional networking site. And I want to pause for just a second, show you the graphic on the screen here. I actually met the woman who created this campaign. It was called It Was Never a Dress. And her name is Tanya Katan. She's on LinkedIn. Connect with her if you're interested in doing so. She was working for a tech company, and she was tasked with creating a campaign that would change the way that people think about something. And I don't know how she came up with this particular concept, but she kind of created this and it became viral, right? And now, I don't know about you guys if you've ever seen this campaign, but now when I go out in public and I see a ladies' restroom sign, I don't think about the lady in the silhouette with the dress. I think about It Was Never a Dress, like that superhero silhouette that goes around her. So it just caused me to look at things differently. And that's my goal for you today. I want you to look at LinkedIn differently. And I want you to think about LinkedIn differently. Maybe you don't have a strong impression of why it should be something you're active on in terms of a social network. Maybe you don't really know what it's all about. I want to change your impression of what LinkedIn is today. That's my goal. So LinkedIn's been around since 2003. They're currently up to 706 million members. And every Fortune 500 company is participating on LinkedIn. Their employees, their company pages, it's very widely accepted. When you do get active on LinkedIn and you start connecting with people, they're called connections. Whereas on Facebook, we call them friends, and then Twitter and Instagram, we call them followers. But on LinkedIn, we call them connections. That's kind of the vernacular that we use there. It is not just for job seekers. So if you're thinking that I don't need to be on LinkedIn because I'm not looking for a job, kind of throw that off to the sidelines because it's not just for job seekers. LinkedIn is actually used more for professional networking purposes than it is used by job seekers. What that means is it attracts people from a variety of different businesses and industries and organizations and backgrounds, and they're using this to stay connected, to learn new information, to find people, to be found. So there's a lot of different reasons. I once had someone say when they first moved from Facebook over to LinkedIn, they reached out to me, they're like, wow, it's kind of like Facebook, but people are nicer out here. There's not the political things. There's not the, sharing pictures of what you made for dinner last night and the kids' Halloween costumes. It's not that. It's really all about business and industry and work and your career. And yes, sometimes job search as well. But it is not just for job seekers. It's really a broad spectrum of things in the professional networking realm. Okay. And think about it almost in some aspects, it's almost like an online Rolodex of business professionals. Okay. So when we are looking up a company, we tend to go to Google, right, and type in the company name and try to find their website. LinkedIn is kind of like that for people. So you can look them up, and this is a place that they want to be found. as business professionals. Whereas on Facebook, I don't know about you guys, but on Facebook, I have a lockdown account. So you really can't see my activity unless I accept your friend request, and I screen people in as I receive friend requests. If I don't know you, I don't accept it. Whereas on LinkedIn, I am more willing to accept that invitation, or you can just follow my updates and we don't even have to connect on the platform. Okay, so that's a little bit of what is LinkedIn. Again, professional networking site, whereas a lot of the other sites are social. This is all professional. Okay, so that's kind of the first topic that I mentioned that we would discuss today. Moving on to, why do I need a LinkedIn profile? Okay, well, maybe I've got you convinced, like you're starting to think about it now, but you're like, why do I need a LinkedIn profile? Well, just like on all the other social networks, your profile is your account on LinkedIn, and you have to have a profile in order to be active on the site. If you are in business, I want you to think about this. Your company is kind of represented through your website, right? I mean, back in the day, it was our yellow page listing, right? And our marketing materials and brochures. And then this thing called the internet was created, and it was the website was like the second front door of your company, right? Now, if you are in business, your LinkedIn profile is a representation of you online. And that's where people expect to find information about you. Okay, so you need to have a LinkedIn profile if you work in any type of a business field. Another reason to have a LinkedIn profile is to claim your name so that someone else doesn't. We're in a weird day and age, guys, of identity theft and odd things out there. And I personally, if there's a new site that pops up that's gaining popularity, I will reserve my name and my company name on that site so that nobody else can do that. And I would advise you to think about the same thing as well on LinkedIn. Even if you are not planning on using LinkedIn, I would still go and create an account with your name and reserve it so that nobody else can pose as you. Okay, so just something to think about, claiming your name on the account so that nobody else can. So people can find you is another reason. It makes you real. So if I wanted to do business with Stassi, I'm going to look him up on LinkedIn, right? And if I can't find him, I start to go, is he even a real person? Is that like a fake account, or is he a scammer, or what's going on? But when I look him up on LinkedIn and I can see his activity and I can see his connections and recommendations and all these things, I go, oh no, he's legit. He actually is a real human being, a real person, right? So it makes you real. If you have a LinkedIn account, it makes you real in that business professional realm. Another reason, and this is something I share with individuals I work with, that I'm going to refer to as experience rich, right? And they may be social media apprehensive, right? But let's say they work in sales and they've been working in sales for 30 or 40 years. Not having a LinkedIn account kind of says, hey, you're not keeping up with technology, because LinkedIn is where it's at if you work in business. So it demonstrates that you're current with social media by having a LinkedIn account. Okay, just simply having the account, it says, yep, I'm with it, right? That's what that message is. And finally, Google search results. You know, we've probably all heard the expression, you should Google yourself. You know, look up your name on Google and see what the search results are. You may be surprised, you know, there might be other people out there who share your name and there's really a scattering of things and there's no cohesiveness there. But if you want, if you really want to come up in Google search results at the top for your name, having a LinkedIn account is going to help you to do that, because LinkedIn is seen as a site that has a high degree of validity, reliability, accuracy. It's legit, basically, is how Google looks at LinkedIn. It's a legit site, so we can trust the information that's here. For the most part, it's not perfect. There are some fake accounts and stuff, but for the most part, Google trusts LinkedIn. And if you have a LinkedIn account, that's going to be one of the things that comes up to the top of the search results on Google for your name. Okay. Reminder there, Google yourself at least once a year, look up your name and see what the search results are on that network. All right. So we talked about what is LinkedIn, and we've talked about why do I need a LinkedIn profile. I'm going to go into our third area, which is how do I get started? I'm going to give you a couple pointers in this area, and then I will open this up to some Q&A. So if you have additional questions, be happy to help you out. So how do you get started? And this is 101, guys. This is really the basics. I want to give you, like, how do you even start this whole process out? I'm not going to walk you into optimizing your profile or building your company page. I just want to give you, like, where do you get started? A single point, single item to do here. And if you want to get started on LinkedIn, if you do not yet have an account, go to linkedin.com, and there's a little button on the top of your screen that will say join now, and just simply follow the on-screen prompts to build your profile. LinkedIn does a really good job of walking you through step by step each of the items that you need for your profile as you build it out. And you just follow their steps through. Follow their steps through in the process. It's a pretty easy thing to do to build out your profile on LinkedIn. After you're done with that, so that's kind of one piece of the puzzle, is building your profile. There's two other sides of LinkedIn that you really need to be focused on, and that is posting and network engagement, and then invitations and messaging strategy. So posting is, once you're on LinkedIn, there's a way you can kind of talk to people in your network publicly. So it's almost like you're putting out a message that is broadcasted out to your connections and anybody who visits your profile, okay? So start posting, and you might kind of say, well, I don't know what to post. And if you're on Facebook, you know what I'm talking about when I'm saying posting, right? On LinkedIn, everything that you are posting should be related to business, career, your industry. It should be kind of related to that professional realm. Whereas on Facebook, I might post, hey, group hug everyone. Like, that doesn't make sense on LinkedIn. That might make sense on Facebook, right? So if you're not sure where to start, what I would do is this: instead of just posting something, just go on the home page on LinkedIn, click on that in symbol or the home symbol, and just start scrolling through and seeing what are other people talking about, okay? If you're just getting started on LinkedIn, you're not going to see anybody there yet because you're not yet connecting with people. So that's why you really need to focus on building your network on LinkedIn. And you do so by inviting people to connect. So you look up their name and send them an invitation. I always recommend that you include a personal note with every single invitation you send, and make that invitation all about them. So I'm just going to look in chat right now and see who's on the session, and I'm going to demonstrate for you how to send an invitation with some personalization in it. Stassi, we are already connected. Let's see if there's anybody else on here who is on LinkedIn that we are not yet connected with. If so, if you could just message in chat and say, we are not connected, and I will look up your profile right now on LinkedIn, and I'll demonstrate an invitation strategy technique. So what I like to do is I kind of follow a formula, and I will say, hi, first name, and then have we met or not. So I might say, hi, Stassi, we met on the webinar today, for example. So I just see Kristen Bordner. So Kristen set up an account. Thank you, Kristen, for volunteering yourself. I'm going to demonstrate this technique right now. Bordner, K-R-I. Okay, so let me look up. So Kristen is a student in, it's a student at Medical University of South Carolina. So Kristen, if I wanted to connect with you, what I would do, and I can see just because your account is brand spanking new, it doesn't even have the option to invite yet. So once you get connections, you'll start to be able to grow more and more connections. But right now, if I don't see the invite button, I'm going to click on the more button, and I will see a connect button, okay? Then it says your invitation's on the way. It's not actually on the way until you click on add a note or done. Which is a little bit misleading. So I'm going to click on add a note, and I really wish they would say required or recommended, because this is really going to help you to accelerate your invitations on LinkedIn and increase the likelihood that people are going to accept it. So I'm just going to say, hi, Kristen. So I like to say, hi, first name, have we met or not? In this case, I'm going to say we met, quote unquote, on the LinkedIn 101 webinar today. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Brenda Meller. I'm going to pause before I send this off. So, hi, first name, have we met or not? If we haven't met, I would say, hi, Kristen, we haven't met yet, but. And then if we haven't met, I'm going to look at Kristen's profile, find one or two things that we have in common, or one or two things that are interesting to me about that person's profile. Then I would say, let's connect on LinkedIn, Brenda Meller. In this case, we have met, right, Kristen, because you're on the webinar today. So I'm going to say, hi, Kristen, we met at the LinkedIn 101 webinar today. That's all I need to say. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Brenda Meller. So I'm including personalization. I'm including some context to why I want to connect with you. And the only thing I am asking for is the invitation. If you're using LinkedIn for job search, Kristen, don't ask the person to look at your resume. Don't tell them you're applying for the job. None of that happens in the invitation. The goal of the invitation is to get it accepted. So really, you just want to have a single focus, which is giving some context and asking for the invitation. That's it. And then once I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to click on done. Now the invitation is going to go off to you, Kristen, and you'll see that inside your LinkedIn under the My Network button. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my slide deck here, and just to summarize for you guys again here, we talked about how do you get started. You want to go to linkedin.com, set up your free account, follow those on-screen prompts to build out your profile. Then you want to start posting, kind of sharing notes with your network, and pay attention to what other people are posting in your homepage feed. That will help to make it a little bit easier for you to understand what is a post and what should you be posting on LinkedIn. Start inviting people to connect, and as you receive invitations, start accepting some of those invitations. And also make sure, I'm doing this all on my desktop right now, but make sure you have downloaded the LinkedIn app on your phone. The LinkedIn app is a really great way of staying connected with people without having to log into your computer. And there's some additional features on the app that make it a little bit easier for you to use LinkedIn on the go. Make sure if you do have the app that you update it at least once a month, because LinkedIn's always adding in new enhancements and features on there. Okay, so to get started on LinkedIn, again, go to the linkedin.com, click on join now. It follows you through the steps. At the same page, guys, where you create your account, or where you actually start the process of creating an account on LinkedIn, they have this link that says learn a new skill. And when you click on that, it's actually going to take you to the LinkedIn Learning Library. And I believe they still are offering a free trial on this. So you can actually look through some videos in here and learn some additional information about LinkedIn. I'm really just covering 30 minutes of information for you here today. But I would recommend you check out the LinkedIn Learning Library, because there's a lot of great videos on understanding how to use LinkedIn. So what I would do if I were you, go to the linkedin.com homepage. I'm going to go back to the previous page for a second. So when I go to the linkedin.com homepage, click on Learn a New Skill. That's going to take you to the LinkedIn Learning Library. And then at the top where it says search skills, subjects, or software, literally go in there and type in any questions you have about LinkedIn. And I just typed in how to create a LinkedIn profile as an example. And here were 3 videos that popped up: creating a compelling LinkedIn profile, rocking your LinkedIn profile, and learning LinkedIn. Okay, so these are in this LinkedIn Learning Library. I think you can still do a free trial in here. I think they still give you, a couple of videos you can watch for free as you're getting started. So check this out in the LinkedIn Learning Library. Because we can't cover everything in the 30-minute session today, I want to give you some resources that enabled you for continued learning as you're looking at additional strategy tips on the platform. All right, so that's it for today. I will open up to some Q&A in just a few minutes here today, guys, but I do want to remind you I have a whole series of these Power 30 webinars that are running right now. In addition to the LinkedIn 101 that you're in today, I have a LinkedIn for Speakers session coming up, Winning at Zoom, which is how to make a great first impression in these Zoom meetings, 6 tips on using LinkedIn for business development, and then setting your prices as an independent consultant. And if you are interested in any of that, I'm actually going to just drop this webpage in here for you. So if you go to mellermarketing.com/events-presentations, and that's where you can upload, or rather you can review all of the upcoming events that I have that are getting started there. All right, so Raymond, great question. He says, OneNote, go through your public library to get a free access. Really great point. And there are some different variations of LinkedIn. There's paid accounts and things like that. You don't have to pay for LinkedIn. You can do everything for free. You don't have to pay for it, but if you're a veteran, I believe they give you 1 year free of LinkedIn Premium. Premium doesn't mean better, it just means you get some more features, so be very cautious about that. But if you have access to it for free, absolutely, Raymond. And if you have resources through your library, definitely look at any of those resources. Now, if you do need personalized help, guys, I want to just do a quick little mention here. This is what I do for a living. So I try to give away as many tools and resources for free, but at some point I got to pay the bills. I got to be able to make groceries. My son keeps growing. I have to buy him new shoes and stuff. So if you do need additional help and you'd like to work with me one-on-one, please let me know. I do offer individual LinkedIn coaching. I do offer profile rewrites, profile creations. And then if you are an independent consultant or a small business owner, I do help with LinkedIn company page strategy, page creation as well, and a variety of other services. And if you're interested in learning more, I'm just going to pop this in here real quick before we go into Q&A. So if you go to mellermarketing.com/LinkedIn, it gives you a little bit of an overview of all the different services that I provided. All right, so there's my plug for myself, if you guys don't mind. And I've been doing these webinars for a little while, and one thing I've noticed when I attend other webinars, I don't like the heavy sales pitch, and I'm not like a salesperson. I am a marketer, right? And it always makes me a little bit uncomfortable when I approach that sales conversation. But come into the day, I don't want to go back to corporate, you guys. I want to stay as an independent consultant. So being paid for my work helps me to stay independent. So that's a little bit about me, my background, and what I'd like to do now is open this up for some Q&A. It's about 9:25, so we'll go for about another 5 minutes here. Do you guys have any questions on LinkedIn, on anything that we've covered here today or on anything else on the network? Kristen says, is there a way to write a note when you accept an invitation? That is a great, great question, Kristen. So let me just show you this. I'm actually going to go back into LinkedIn. And let's just say that, Kristen, have you accepted my invitation yet? I'm curious. I'm going to refresh my page here. If you have accepted my invitation, you have. Look at this. And it should say first level connection. For some reason, it's not showing up here. But I do see that I can now message you. Okay. And let's see here. Nope, you haven't accepted yet. So that's why it's pushing me to message. So once you accept, so let me go into Stassi's profile. Stassi, you don't mind if I put you on the screen here, do you? I don't think you do. So let's say that I sent Stassi an invitation to connect and he accepted it. What do I do next? Well, you will get a notification from LinkedIn saying Stassi accepted your invitation. And I just try to pay attention to when those come through. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say something like this. I'm not actually going to send it, but I'm going to type it out so you can see this. Hi, Stassi. Oops, try to spell it right there. Thanks for accepting my LinkedIn invitation. And then something quick, a one-liner about my business, an offer for help, you know, something quick on here, and maybe just something to keep the dialogue going back and forth. And it might be, in my case, it might be, let me know if you ever have any LinkedIn strategy questions. And that's kind of my, my soft sell, because if Stassi does, he'll reply back and he'll say, actually, I do have a question, right? And if he's kind of wondering why I'm asking if he has any questions, he might look at my profile and then he goes, oh, she's a LinkedIn trainer. That makes sense. So in your case, Kristen, let's assume you're looking for a job and you're looking to connect with other people who are working in the industry that you want to work in. Well, after they accept the invitation, what I would do if I were you, Kristen, is reply back and say, thanks for accepting my invitation. I'm currently studying in school and hoping to become a pharmacist, which I see is a role that you are currently in. I was wondering if you might ever be open to chatting by phone for 10 or 15 minutes sometime. Let me know. So that might be a soft ask. It's not like forcing a calendar link on them that they have to do anything with, but you're kind of saying, I was wondering if you might be open to chatting by phone sometime, giving them the option. But I definitely would follow up, and I try to follow up with all of my invitations as well. And there is a way you can kind of see who the new connections are. If you click on your My Network button and then you click on Connections in the left-hand side, you're going to see it sorts by recently added. So I can see, Kristen, that you have just accepted my invitation now. Now I can message you back and I can say, thanks for accepting. Let me know if you have any LinkedIn questions, etc. And I can do that with all of these new invitations. If I click on message, I'm going to see the exchange. So I can see, in this case, Katie and I have already talked back and forth. We've already messaged back and forth. Okay. But yeah, definitely I would recommend that you follow up after you accept those invitations. All right. Any additional questions? Stassi, would you like to speak to a couple of networking groups I'm in, usually between 20 to 50 members? Thank you so much for asking, Stassi. Do you have a budget is my question. I'm now at the point where, you know, I'm really trying to focus on, I have two main objectives for the rest of the year. I'm publishing my first LinkedIn strategy book, and I'm also trying to launch an online course. I'm working on that right now. So once I get those two things done, I will be more open to additional speaking engagements that are non-paid. For the time being right now, I'm not accepting speaking engagements unless they're paid, because again, I got a mortgage with a roof over my head. My son needs the shoes and we need the groceries, because I got to have coffee in my fridge at home. So, or my cupboard, I should say. So not at this time, maybe after the first of the year, Stassi, but if you guys have a budget, yeah, let's definitely talk. So let me know if you're interested. I hope that makes sense, Stassi. I would love to be independently wealthy and to be able to say, yeah, I'll speak at any group at any point in time. But you got to say no to some things so you can get to the yeses on the others, right? And right now I need to get my book and my course done, and then I can start to say yes to some other things. All right. So any additional questions? I'm just looking at this in here. Let's see. I think there might be one more in here. Anne says, I have a few questions, so I will need to take additional help. I'll use the link. Thank you so much for checking that out, Anne. And just follow that through. If you go to that LinkedIn page, there's a form at the bottom. If you fill that form out, you'll receive an email from me with a link to schedule a discovery call for 15 minutes. We can kind of chat about what you're looking for. I can give you an overview of my packages as well, if you're interested in that. All right, so let's see. Question, what happens if you create a draft, no info? At the moment, it's turned off. I need to add information and update my profile name. So I think the question you're asking here, Anne, is you're creating a draft of your profile. Is that correct? So probably what is happening is you've claimed your account on LinkedIn, but you haven't fully built it and you're not yet making it public. Is that correct? What happens there is nobody can see it until you let LinkedIn know, yep, it's good to go. So there is a step that you have to say launch profile or create profile, or there's like a completion step where it starts to broadcast it out. If you need additional help beyond that though, Anne, if you could clarify that, okay? Stassi has another question, LinkedIn usage. What's your question, Stassi? Got a message in chat. It's 9:31, but I'll do maybe 1 or 2 more questions. I've got to get ready for, I'm doing a LinkedIn Live at 10:05 here, so I got to wrap up here. Let's see. Once your LinkedIn is live, does that mean anything you do is seen? I currently have my public profile off while I input the information. So the question here is, once your LinkedIn is live, you're not referring to LinkedIn Live, you're referring to is once your LinkedIn account is open, does that mean anything you do is seen? It really depends on your settings there. And if you have your public profile set to maximum visibility, yes, people can see when you post. Yes, people can see when you visit their profile. Yes, people can see if you like or comment on other people's posts. Personally, I don't mind any of those things because this is a professional networking site. Once upon a time, LinkedIn would broadcast all of the updates out as we were building our profile. Brenda updated her photo. Brenda updated her headline. Brenda updated her job. It doesn't do that anymore. Okay, the only thing LinkedIn broadcasts out are if you are starting a new job or if you're promoted, if you're starting or completing education, or if you're celebrating a work anniversary, okay? Those are the things that they push out. The other profile updates are not broadcasted out anymore. Hopefully that answers your question. But do keep in mind, this is a professional networking site. Especially, I'm just gonna speak a little bit to the creepy guys that are using this platform. I don't think they understand, but we can see everything that they are doing. And sometimes when I get a weird invitation, it says like, hello, beautiful, or something obnoxious. And I usually report and block them. But if you look at their account, you can see all they are doing is they're commenting on other women's profiles on LinkedIn with hello, beautiful, hi, sexy, hi. You know, it's like all these comments, like the world can see it. And that means their wife or girlfriend can see it. And that means their boss can see it. That means everybody can see it. So I like to report and block them, which helps to remove them from the network. And then I don't have to see them anymore. But yeah, back to the 99.999% of us that are using LinkedIn for professional networking purposes, any activities that you do can be seen, but in terms of your profile updates, those are not broadcasted out. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording and start to wrap things up here for today. I want to thank all of you for joining. Let's see who we have. We have Raymond, Kristen, Olivia, Venny, Jay Sagini. I'm not sure who that your first name is. Carla, nice to see you. Anne, and then I see BMC on here. Thank you guys so much for joining. Again, this session was recorded and I will be sending